Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have a kind of an interesting topic here today. We're going to talk about the Speed Championship and the Speed everything because it was announced at NXT Heatwave that Speed will no longer be on Twitter. Well, they didn't say that flat out, but it won't be no longer on Twitter, and it will be now part of the NXT brand. And that was all we were told. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could mean. I mean, obviously, I think it's going to be defended hopefully semi regularly on the platform. I know they're going to have like the tournament that started off. It's going to be a Raw superstar, a SmackDown superstar. I think also another NXT superstar, and then a AAA star, kind of getting what looks to be like a mini tournament, like one versus one, and then them going against Sol Ruka. Honestly, kind of a fire idea. I do feel like with NXT that could be kind of tricky depending on who's in that tournament because yes, they'll get some more time, but is that going to take time away from somebody else that desperately needs that screen time? Because NXT sometimes has that trouble where they don't know exactly what they're doing with all their segments. Like they have really solid segments, but then if you throw a wrench in it, like this whole other thing, it kind of can screw it up, as we have seen with the Heritage Cup that's just completely disappeared and not been a part of the show, which I know that they've been talking about maybe making that into a belt. I do think that would be the best idea. Turn it into like the European belt, and I would be absolutely ecstatic because that'd be cool to see that belt back and it would work really well. But like now having these speed belts on the platform, like the show itself, I think does make it complicated. I do think the whole speed and whole part of it is kind of mute now. Like I don't think, are we still gonna have 3 minute matches? I do think they should, like, this would be, because it's my video, my thoughts on the speed thing. They should bump it up to 5 minute matches. Possibly you could do like 2 out of 3 falls on a 10 minute match or something, but I really do think a 5 minute match would be solid enough. Where you can go in there and then the championship match be 7 minutes. So all the tournament matches that they do or whatever thing they do for it, it's 5 minutes, and then you go to seven. I do think now that Silric has done such a great job with the North American title, I do think she should probably get rid of this belt at some point just so she can focus in on that. Because, yeah, it's cool that she's a double champion, but I really think she's like ready for bigger and better things. Like, I think she's almost ready to go to the main roster, and so I don't think this belt needs to be with her, especially if it's going to be an NXT thing. This should definitely be for people who are struggling to find their place on getting screen time on all the brands, because like if you think you got a Raw, a SmackDown, an NXT, and a AAA person. I couldn't really guess who the AAA person was. I don't know their roster well enough. If I had to guess for like NXT, I could see a Jasmine Nix being probably the person that's selected here. One, because she kind of already knows Silrica and is feuding with her. I think it would be a solid person to put in there. I could also see Lainey Reed, because Lainey Reed also is kind of trying to be into Fatal Influence, and that would be a big stepping stone, especially because what they could do is have Lainey versus her in the finals, and then have something happen where they distract her enough, like Fatal Influence, that Lainey then gets the title, and she would be a perfect person to have that belt because she could have feuds and other stuff. I really do think, like I said, it really will be successful if they get Silver to drop the belt in a way that makes her still look tough, but not enough that she holds on to it, because it's just, I don't think it's the thing. I just don't think it's the right call. On the men's side of thing, with having El Grande Americano in there, I do think it's probably going to maybe be dropped to somebody on the AAA side of things. I don't know if we're going to get him in there. They kind of just mentioned that their home is going to be on NXT. I can't imagine that they're just going to let him drop the belt or what they're going to do with that. But I feel like it's kind of pointless not to have him also have the same tournament. I guess on the women's side, if I was guessing the first 4 people, like I said, I'm not sure on the AAA. I told you who I'd think for the NXT. Raw, SmackDown. SmackDown probably would be the like BFAB. I could see possibly also. Meacham's going towards the United States Championship, so it's not that crazy. Maybe like Piper Niven, people like that are like right on the outside looking in of like the mid card, so that they have that opportunity. I could see Kalani James, not Kalani Joy. What is what is her first name? The current manager for Julia and stuff. I always forget what her first name is. I just know the last name is James. And then on the Raw side of things, I mean, obviously you've got like Ivy Nile, who was already kind of in that speed talk. I think she would be an interesting person that they could possibly pull the trigger on, especially with her and El Grande Americano. Like they kind of were on the same faction because they thought it was Chad Gable, but they now it's not. They kind of just made American Made disappear in general. Other than that, there's not a lot of people from Raw that really fits that criteria. Like everybody's kind of in the middle area of the card or in the upper area. There's not really much of a underbelly kind of like I don't even like people like on the outside looking in. I'm trying to think really honestly, other than Ivy Nile. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe well, Candice LeRae would also fit because she's won the championship. That's SmackDown. Man, I am really struggling to find anybody else on Raw. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. The Raw's division is so stacked that there isn't a lot of people on the outside looking in. Um, yeah, I guess that would be the only person I think Abby Niles gonna automatically get that spot. Maybe Kyrie Sane, but like I really feel like she's still higher up than that. I guess it's just to see her get something and do some stuff. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I definitely think they need to redesign these belts too because they look funky, especially if they're going to be shown on TV all the time. On the men's side of things, there's a unlimited amount of people. I guess for NXT, I would probably say for going against the Grande Americano, um, man, there's like a lot of like people that are like towards the bottom, but like I could see like a Jasper Troy who has had some pretty decent success, but he could get that belt and do something with it. So maybe Jasper Troy would be my pick. On the AAA side of things, Mr. Iguana, I mean, honestly, he already has a title with the mixed tag team title, but he's so over that they could definitely do that. Raw, SmackDown, Raw probably. Wow, there's a lot of people that could fit. I mean, you obviously got the El Grande Americanos, the other ones, if you wanted Butch or Tyler Bate could easily be in there. Pretty much anybody that's half of a tag team could easily be a good call to put in there. SmackDown is kind of similar. I could see maybe one of the My Family Tree people getting it, so we get a little bit more screen time. Um, Honestly, there's just a lot of good calls on there. But tell me what you guys think. Do you think it's a good idea putting it on NXT? I think overall, I think it's going to be a good idea, but I do think they're going to get they're just still going to struggle. I think there's going to be something where they have to get rid of them or fold them in, especially on the men's side of things with having the Heritage Cup have such a struggle to get screen time in itself. I couldn't see anything else what they could really do with that. Plus, also, yeah, on the men's side, I was just thinking Tavion Heights would also be a pretty good call. Tyra May still on the women's side because they just had those big matches and they'd be people that are up and coming enough to put a belt on, but not enough to maybe put the mid card belt on. So I guess we'll see. But tell me what you guys think. It's been Japan. Bye, guys.